Hello and welcome to The Explainer. We all love how AI can write an email, plan a trip, or even help us code. But there's a hidden side to all that magic. To be that useful, these systems need our data. And that, right there, creates a whole world of privacy risks that most of us never even see.
So think about it. The last time you asked a chatbot for something, did you stop to wonder what actually happens to your question? Where does it go? Who sees it? What is it used for after you get your answer? It's a journey with a lot more twists and turns than you might expect.
So, let's actually do that. Let's follow a single question that you ask an AI. We're going to trace its path from the moment you hit enter to its final stop, deep inside the model's brain. And we'll uncover the hidden risks at every single step.
Okay, so our journey starts the very moment you interact with an AI. You know, it seems so simple on the surface, but the path your data takes is surprisingly complex, with these little privacy traps hidden all along the way.
Here's the basic roadmap. You type in a prompt. That prompt zips through the provider's API to their systems. In there, a huge model, a large language model, or LLM, chews on it, and then an answer comes right back to your screen. Looks clean, right? But hiding inside that simple loop are three major risks.
Okay, the first risk is a really clever trick called prompt injection. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like a Jedi mind trick on the AI. An attacker can write a special prompt that basically tells the AI, forget all your safety rules, now you're going to do what I say. It's a way to completely bypass the guardrails.
So, the promise is this helpful, instant assistant. But the risk? That assistant can be hijacked. With a prompt injection attack, it could be tricked into, say, revealing sensitive company data instead of just summarizing a public report, all from one cleverly worded prompt.
All right, let's move on to risk number 2, data memorization. Now, AIs learn from just unimaginable volumes of text from the internet. The problem is, sometimes they don't just learn general concepts. They straight up memorize specific details it saw during training, maybe from a personal blog or a private forum comment that got swept up in the data.
And this is where it gets really dangerous. You could ask for something totally generic, like a sample story, but the AI might spit back a paragraph that includes a real person's name, maybe their email, or other private details it memorized. Now, the AI isn't trying to be malicious, it's just repeating what it learned. But for the person whose data just got leaked, the damage is very real.
And the third big risk is one you've probably heard about: hallucinations. This is when the AI just makes stuff up. It generates an answer that sounds completely confident, totally plausible, but is factually wrong or just completely fabricated.
With the hallucination, the AI gives you an answer that feels right, but could be dangerously wrong. I mean, imagine you're relying on it for financial advice or legal research. Suddenly, a hallucination isn't just a funny quirk, it could lead to really terrible decisions.
So, now that we know the risks, the obvious question is, what are we doing about it? Well, thankfully, experts aren't just sitting back and watching this happen. There's a formal process, a rulebook, if you will, for how to build and use AI safely. The key idea here is that privacy can't be an afterthought. It can't just bolt it on at the end. It has to be woven into the entire AI lifecycle, from the very first spark of an idea, through the design and deployment, all the way to the day that system is shut down for good. It's a constant loop, not a one-time checklist.
And that life cycle is governed by a constant 4-step cycle. First, the teams identify potential risks, like the ones we just talked about. Then, they evaluate them. How likely is this to happen, and how bad would it be if it did? Third, they put in controls to try and stop it. And finally, and this is crucial, they monitor everything, because the threats are always changing.
So, what does it really mean to evaluate a risk? Well, experts don't just see a vague cloud of danger. They break it down into its fundamental parts. A risk is a very specific combination of things that you can actually analyze.
Let's use our data memorization example. The hazard is the AI's ability to recall specific data. The vulnerability might be that the training data wasn't properly anonymized. A threat could be a bad actor who's actively trying to pull that private data out of the model. An exposure, that's you, the user, who might be shown that private data. See, when you break it down like this, you can see exactly where you need to build defenses.
So this leads to a critical question. If something goes wrong, who's responsible?
Is it the company that built the AI or the company that put it in their app? The best analogy is a car. If there's a crash, is the car maker responsible or is the driver? Well, with AI, the answer is it's complicated.
Let's break down the cast of characters. First, you have the provider. Think OpenAI or Google. They build the core AI model, the engine. Then you have the deployer. That's the company that takes that engine and puts it into their product, like the chatbot in your banking app. And often, that deployer is also the controller, the one who decides how and why your data is being used in the first place.
So, what this means is that responsibility is shared. It's a chain. The provider has to build a safe model, absolutely. But the deployer also has a duty to use it responsibly, to set it up correctly, and to be upfront with you about it. It's an unbroken chain of accountability.
Okay, we have covered a ton of ground. We've followed your data, we've uncovered the risks, and we've peeked inside the rulebook. So now let's pull it all together and figure out what this really means for you day to day.
So here's what to remember. First, your data goes on a real journey, and those risks of memorization or manipulation are not just theoretical. Second, there is a professional rulebook, a risk management process that's designed to protect you. Third, accountability is shared. Both the companies that build AI and those that use it have a role to play. And finally, and this is so important, laws like GDPR give you rights over your data.
And this quote from the European Data Protection Board really gets to the heart of it. It says, privacy and data protection are not static goals, but ongoing commitments. It's not something you achieve once and forget about. It's a constant effort that has to adapt just as fast as the technology does.
Which leaves us with one last big question. We have these frameworks, we have regulations, but AI is moving at an absolutely incredible speed. As these models get more and more powerful and more integrated into our lives, the biggest challenge we face is making sure that our rules, our ethics, and our commitment to privacy can actually keep pace.